Gang, it begins. There is definitely movement out there where more and more Democrats want to replace Joe Biden and his disastrous campaign. So we're going to take a look at the latest movement, what's driving the effort among Democrats to dump Biden and replace him, frankly, with anyone else. But unfortunately for the Democrats, it's all too little too late. We're going to find out why the Democrats know that they have no hope of winning in November, but are reduced at this point to merely trying to minimize the electoral damage done to their party. You're going to absolutely love it. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. I hope you're having a wonderful start to your week. If this is your first time here with us on this channel and you're looking for a daily white pill of encouragement to help you counter all that ridiculous fake news that's spewed out from our corporatist, globalist media, our Marxist media, then you have found your oasis. We post 2 videos a day analyzing current events and like some super awesome conservative trends so you can live in the present in light of even better things to come. So you know what to do if you haven't already done so. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You are going to love being a regular part of this channel and interacting with this network of conservatives from all over the world. They're simply the best. And so, of course, over to you. Let's hear from you. Let's start with our video chat question of the day. Do you believe the Democrats will indeed replace Joe Biden? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Do you believe the Democrats will dump Joe? Because it's really being more and more openly discussed among Democrats that Biden's candidacy is a total and complete joke at this point, and he has absolutely no chance of winning in November. But my question that I'd want to ask the Democratic faithful at this point is simply this: did Biden ever have a chance? What makes you think that the Democratic establishment chose him because they thought he could win? But first, before we do anything else, make sure to click on that link down below and check out the awesome new video that we put together just for you, featuring our brand new Turley Talks Insiders Club. We are so thankful for those of you who have already signed up, and you're going to absolutely love this, being a part of this massive group of conservatives and networking with them directly throughout the world. By becoming a member, you get more exclusive access to me and our journey together into this new conservative age that we're embarking on. Each week, you'll get a special deep dive video about 45 to 60 minutes long, solely reserved for our Insiders members. You'll get access to our private Facebook group that features conservatives from all over the world. And plus, you get my monthly reading list to keep you updated on the best and most enriching information out there. You get a number of bonus videos, and you even get some awesome swag, like our accessory here, our Turley Talks tumbler, to put your coffee in, or whatever your beverage of choice happens to be, all for less than the price of a cup of coffee a day. So don't wait. Make sure to click on the link below. Watch the video on the Turley Talks Insiders Club to get a better sense, a fuller sense of what you'll be a part of. This offer to join for such a low price is for a limited time only, so click on that link, and it'll be an absolute privilege to journey with you into this new conservative age together. All right, gang, very exciting. Let's dive right in here. More and more Democrats are coming out and openly saying that it's time to dump Joe Biden as their candidate for president. This really is nothing short of stunning. And I'm talking here the level of dissatisfaction with Biden, because if you really think about it, he has more or less shored up the nomination, right? He's still shy of the delegates needed, which we'll look at in a minute. It's very interesting, but he has all but shored up the nomination by virtue of the entire Democratic establishment getting behind him in an effort to take out Bernie Sanders, right, who they saw as a mortal threat to the future of the Democratic Party. And again, we've talked about this before in a number of other videos, but I personally don't think the Democratic establishment believes that Biden could actually win, that Biden could ever have beaten an incumbent president. But they did believe that they would lose far less with Biden than with Sanders. In other words, while Sanders would have been a colossal electoral disaster for the Democrats, Biden, who still can't win, nevertheless will serve to minimize that electoral loss. And I think that's the basic strategy that's been implemented by the Democratic establishment. Now, one of the proofs or lines of evidence that I have for such an assertion is precisely how Democrats, who are not particularly privy to this strategy, are beginning to realize that Biden has no chance of winning. So they're starting to recognize what the Democrat elite have always understood. Biden is not there so much to win as he's there to minimize Democrat losses. It's actually a very, very good strategy, politically speaking. But the rank and file Democrat, the left-wing activists who are not necessarily privy to this strategy, are beginning to realize that the Democrats have indeed nominated, or in the process, I guess technically speaking, the process of nominating, a bona fide loser. And so the rank and file are beginning to panic. And the calls among some of the Democrats' most devoted loyalists to get rid of Biden are increasing significantly in terms of their frequency. So let's just sample just some of these calls to dump Biden. New York Magazine's The Intelligencer recently devoted a whole article to the question, can Democrats force Biden to drop out? Can Democrats? Is it possible for Democrats to dump Biden at this point in the game? The author of the piece quotes Gawker editor and virulent hater of all things Trump, Alex Pareene, who said this: Biden is the presumptive nominee in large part because the party leadership coalesced around him, signaling clearly to voters that he was the right man. The most respected, admired figures in the party could now coalesce around another path, Biden bowing out and the presidential contest continuing. So you could see what's going on here among the rank and file. It's widely being recognized now that Biden is principally the creature of the Democratic establishment. That's no one's arguing that. And what that establishment gave to the Democrats, they can also taketh away, as it were. The establishment gave us Biden, and they can rid us of Biden. Biden was not organically picked by the Democratic rank and file. They were, in effect, given their marching orders by the establishment's storm of endorsements. But now everyone is having second thoughts because they're coming to the realization that Biden actually has no real way of winning. And again, I would argue, frankly, as far as the establishment is concerned, he was never meant to. He's there to minimize the damage. Here's another one. A Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama ticket to replace Joe Biden? Is it even possible? And the author of this piece goes on to point out that Democrats are getting more and more nervous with Joe Biden literally with every passing day, whether it's the obvious cognitive decline or his bumbling responses to the Tara Reade accusations where you have to believe all women except Tara Reade, or his whole involvement with Hunter Biden's obvious corrupt business practices. They're increasingly recognizing that Biden is radically damaged goods, and we tend not to vote damaged goods into the White House, right? We prefer the devil we already know to the one we don't, as it were. Here's another one from The Atlantic. This is neat. Biden's virtual campaign is a disaster. How's that for subtlety? The Atlantic is about as anti-Trump a publication as you can get, and even they are admitting that Biden doesn't have a chance in November at this point. He's an abject disaster of a candidate, and he's become increasingly clear that this campaign is crashing and burning right before our very eyes. Here's the Sentinel record. It's time for Democrats to dump Slow Joe. And this author cites the perennial problem of Tara Reade and the Me Too hypocrisy that's completely and totally undermining any semblance of credibility for Biden and his campaign. And then, of course, you have the polls, right? The latest Morning Consult poll found that 1 in 4 Democrats wanted a new nominee. That was 25% of the party. They didn't want Biden. This was a couple of weeks back. But that was good news compared to the poll published last week by Rasmussen, who found that nearly 30% of Democrats want another candidate. I want this figure to hit you, right? So a couple of weeks back, it was 1 in 4 Democrats. Now it's 1 in 3. And you can see this too in the so-called enthusiasm gap. So when matched up against, we talked about this before, when matched up against President Trump in terms of the level of enthusiasm voters have for the respective candidates, I mean, it's frankly ugly for Biden. Trump has an astonishing 19-point advantage in voter enthusiasm. Trump crushes Biden 64% to 45%. And this is why when people were asked in this poll who they thought would win the election in November, Trump won in a blowout, 57% to 43%. So obviously right now, as we speak, you have a divided party among the Democrats. The party is simply not united around Biden at this point, even though he's hands down the presumptive nominee. When 30% of your party wants someone else, After you've all but shored up the nomination, something's gone wrong majorly. And you contrast that with Trump, who enjoys a 90% plus approval rating among Republicans, along with this massive enthusiasm indicator. You're looking at the possibility, really, of a complete and total slaughter in November. And to me, that is the key to what we need to be keeping our eye on. We need to be looking for Democrats beginning to fear that Biden could actually end up being a comparable electoral disaster to Bernie Sanders. If Biden's campaign starts melting down such that he's taking other Democratic congressional candidates with him, I do think he's toast. And it's here that I found the recent comments by the DNC communications director so interesting. You probably heard about these. This communications director said on Fox News that the Democrats had to have their convention this summer because, and I'm quoting her, because we are not officially nominating Joe Biden. It was a very odd statement. They needed to have the convention because they're not officially nominating Joe Biden to take on Donald Trump. And a number of people are asking, well, was that a slip of the tongue? Or did she simply misspeak? Or did she inadvertently admit that as far as the DNC is concerned, they're having second thoughts about the viability of Biden's candidacy? And again, I believe the viability of this candidacy is not to necessarily win, but to minimize Democratic loss in November. If his campaign implodes, that implosion may damage and take down just as many Democrats as Sanders' campaign would have, which means that the whole rationale for nominating Biden has come crashing down as well. So that's what I'm going to be keeping my eyes on in the coming weeks. To what extent are the Democratic establishment talking about the effect of Biden's campaign disaster on other Democrats? That's, I think, what they were so freaked over Sanders. And I think it's going to be something comparable for Biden. I think the establishment that gaveth him to Democrats will at that point be the same ones that taketh him away. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video on the red pilling of Elon Musk. You're not going to believe the latest going on with the Tesla CEO, but it's going to absolutely make your day. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.